This week on The Chef's Cut, we are talking with Chef Byron Gomez, the Michelin-starred chef and partner of BRUTØ in Denver, Colorado. Byron is a Top Chef alum, and he is also the first Costa Rican chef to earn Michelin stars. This week, we're talking about his rise from Burger King to Michelin-starred restaurants.
I mean, you can't have it any other way, you know?
Well, you can have it whatever way you want, I believe.
You can have it your way. Making creamsicles out of carrots.
And that was a childhood memory from ice cream trucks back when I was in New York.
And the time he almost got fired by Daniel Boulud.
There's a panic in the room. Somebody stole Chef's phone because I didn't give it back to him.
All right, Chef Byron, it is so good to see you. We haven't hung out in a long time, so thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. What a treat, guys. Thank you so much.
Super pumped that you're here, man. Very excited to have you on the pod and dig into what has been a really cool career for you so far. So, I mean, Colorado is one of my favorite places, and not just from our season of Top Chef. I loved it long before that. But I have one thing about Colorado I want to talk about, because I don't know if it's a specifically Colorado thing, but it's the only place I've ever seen it and done it. And I don't know if you're familiar with this. So there were places we used to go to back in the day, and I found one of them. It still exists. But there were places where you'd go in and it'd be like a steakhouse, but you'd pick out a steak and then you'd go up and they would have a giant grill and you would grill your own steak. Like you would just pick out a steak from a counter and then they'd like bring you over a ribeye and you'd go up and you'd grill a steak in the middle of the restaurant. It was like, yeah. So there's one place, it's like right outside of like Vail. It's called the Minturn Country Club, I think, or Minturn Tavern. And I don't know if you've been, but
well,
you've not been
for a living, so I don't think I want to go pay to cook.
Thank you.
Listen.
Exactly.
Okay,
I came here for somebody to cook for me.
So you're not going out for Korean barbecue? You're not going out for Korean barbecue, guys?
How did I know you were going to bring that up? How did I know?
Because it's a good fucking point. That's how you knew.
But I am that person that doesn't cook it. I'm the person that just waits around for it, because everybody that I go with is super excited. And they're like, okay, we're going to cook for you. And I was like, sure, go ahead, please. Make my day.
Okay, but I'm saying when I was like 15, this was like crazy novel. It was like they just you got to go grill a steak. But the one thing they also have there that it's like I haven't stopped thinking about in 24 years since I've eaten it is they have this dessert they call the Minturn baked potato, and it's ice cream rolled in cocoa powder and the like stuff with sundae stuff, but it looks like a baked potato. And I think it's maybe one of the greatest. I think it's maybe one of the greatest culinary creations.
I'm looking this thing up.
It sounds like the perfect
oh my god,
day, just that kind of dessert.
I mean, it's like
calories. It's amazing.
I don't know if
like
they
a baked potato.
I don't know if they have 2 or 3 Michelin stars there, but they deserve all of them.
#1 restaurant in the world.
Right.
In my opinion, if I wrote 50 best, I'd be like, listen, it's the dessert baked potato and then everybody else. That's how it works. Like, Noma, work harder.
It sounds like a destination, so definitely up there.
Worth a special trip.
So when Adrian comes out there, we got to go. We're going. Yes. I'll grill your steak for you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Up on the way.
Yeah,
yes.
I'll drive. I don't mind driving out there, and I don't mind grilling your guys' steak. So I'll be over there. I'll be over there flipping them up. Just wait.
I'll open water bottles and play DJ the whole road trip. I'm a great shotgun driver. Okay, so Byron, I have some new segments. Joe loves it when I come up with new segments.
All right.
And you're going to be our first to do this new segment. And I have a great name for this one it's not too dad joke corny, but it's called In Season. I like puns, so normally my titles are pretty bad, but this one is pretty straightforward.
That's actually reasonable.
Yeah.
I was gonna call it "'Tis the Season," but that's a little too evocative of Christmas.
That's unbelievable.
Whatever. So Byron, Joe and I are largely on the eastern half of the U.S., right? We're east of the Mississippi, but where you are in Colorado, Southwest, high desert, it's such a varied landscape. What is in season right now that you're excited about and you're cooking with at BRUTØ?
Crones.
I have some crones in my refrigerator. Are you kidding me? I can literally go get them right now. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's so funny. It's so exciting. It's such a small, vegetable. It's a tuber. It's a root vegetable. We are able to grow it here in Colorado because of the terroir. It's cold and such. I just think they're so interesting. They're like the main character, but also like the leading role or like the assistant role. We are picking them right now for our main course at BRUTØ,
Yes.
and they just bring such a like nice pop. They have a beautiful texture when you pickle them. They don't get soggy. They hold this texture. You could eat them raw. And it's always a curiosity when guests see them. They're like, wait, what is this?
Yeah. They're like, is that
One
a
guest,
worm?
yeah, one guest was 2 days ago. They're like, is this cartilage? I'm like, no, 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 no. Don't worry. It's not cartilage. We carved out the duck. We're
Right.
good.
That's so funny. So for anybody who doesn't know, crones are a little like tuber. They look like bumpy. They're usually an inch or smaller, and they're kind of the texture of a sunchoke or a Jerusalem artichoke. So they have
Yes.
that crisp, watery texture. They're not very starchy.
Like a water chestnut texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So super excited to have that on the menu. I don't see it often. And another one is salsify. I don't see
Oh,
salsify
yeah.
often
Oh, the
around
old
menus.
salsify.
Yeah, at least here in Colorado. In the East Coast, I definitely saw it a lot. So being able to bring those influences and what kind of marked my career at my early stage as a cook from the East Coast, bringing it here, it's super exciting to see how people take it in, and that like educational moment that we're able to do at BRUTØ is something that is quite magical.
I felt like the first time I saw salsify in the kitchen, somebody was like, "Oh, you got to peel this," and I was like, "You want me to peel this bag of sticks?" You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like,
we
what?
no
Like, I
more.
was like looking at it. I was like, "What is this bullshit?"
How do I
You know what
peel
I mean?
a
Like,
tree
dude,
stem?
I'm gonna peel this bag of sticks and we're gonna sell it. Like,
People
what
are
kind
gonna
of bullshit
eat
are you
these?
guys on? Like,
I
Yeah.
had the same reaction when I first saw when I was working at Cafe Boulud, cardoons. I've never
Oh,
seen a
yeah.
cardoon
Yes.
before.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the
I was like,
fuck
what is
is
this big hairy celery?
yeah, it's like this one's no good. Should we send it back? Like, why is it? Like, this looks like celery that grew next to a railroad track.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you're just like,
It
something's
looks
spilled.
like celery that grew in Chernobyl.
Yeah, it's
Yep,
like something spilled on this
exactly.
that wasn't water. Like, you know, like this isn't.
Oh man, that's so funny.
So talking about you and, you know, New York and Cafe Boulud, you know, you didn't just start at Cafe Boulud. You got your taste of cooking with open fire before that at one of the great flame cooking restaurants of our
America's
generation.
ever known.
I mean, you can't have it any other way, you know.
Well, you can have it whatever way you want, I believe.
You
I
can have it
believe
your way.
is actually you can have it your way at that
Yeah.
restaurant. I believe if I
Yeah.
remember correctly from my time dining there.
Although now their tagline is "You rule."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I cut my teeth. I was mid-teens and decided to take a summer gig in the very famous restaurant called Burger King. And after that, that's where I kind of like was the bing moments in my head and all over me. And it was just trying to be better, and never knew that I was going to be where I'm at now, but it's been quite a journey, and it's been a fun ride for sure.
So where did you go? Like, take us, for people who know you for your Michelin-starred restaurant in Colorado and they know you from television. Take us from Burger King. Like, what are the places you worked at after that?
Yes, so Burger King, then after that, climbing the ladder, TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
After TGI Fridays was the Sheraton Hotel. From the line cook to then doing banquets, and I'm just kind of getting those notches on my belt. After that, I moved away from home, and I was living in Long Island. I moved to the Bronx with $800 in my pocket. I would take the 1 train and then take the 6 down to 28th and Madison. This Southeast Asian restaurant back in the day called Prana. And that restaurant was like my intro to New York City. What a melting pot. We were doing food from Southeast Asia. So Eastern India to Laos, Cambodia. We would make our own curries in-house. We would cook rice in these straw, kind of like straw-made kind of hats that were like upside down. And we would put the rice there, put it over a metal container, and just cover it with cheesecloth. I've never seen rice cooked like that before. So it was like my intro of what culinary world could be like. After a few years in mom and pop shops around New York City, I tapped into one of my biggest mentors, We call him Papa, Daniel Boulud. And that's when I started working for Dynex. I stayed there for about 5 years. Then on went to work at a 2-star Michelin during the type of Scandinavian cuisine in the early 2010s, mid 2010s. I
Was
went
this
to
𝗶𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗏?
no, this was Atera.
Ah,
Yeah,
Oh
this
yeah.
is Atera with Ronnie Amberg that came from Copenhagen, and super exciting. Never seen that kind of style of service. It was also always classically French. It was flipping burgers to classically French to now Atera. And then at that time, I was like, all right, I did a 1-star, 2-star. What else is left? I don't want to go back to classically French. So John George is out of the questions. Danielle is out of the question. And the other one was pretty much, I was like, I'm not going to get into masa just because I just, that's not my thing. And that's when I decided to work at 11 Madison Park. And during that year, we became #1 restaurant in the world. And I feel like I just kind of completed the treble.
yeah, you definitely did. So what brought you I mean, you traded in the concrete jungle for the rolling hills and mountains of Colorado. Like,
Yeah.
what made you leave New York? Did you not want to plant your flag in New York? What brought you to Colorado?
Well, when we got #1 restaurant in the world in 2017, we got it that April. And then that summer, we closed on the restaurant for renovation. This was planned
Mm.
prior from us getting the award or whatever. And then we did a pop-up in the Hamptons. E&P moved the
Summer
entire restaurant,
house.
Summer House, out in the Hamptons. And that was the first glance that I saw of living outside of New York. The world doesn't revolve around you. There's other things to see. And that kind of work-life balance, that was the first sneak peek. Like I will go in the morning and we will work very hard, but then it will get darker later on at night. So around 6, 7 p.m., I will go to the beach and surf for an hour or two and they go home. And that was the first time I was like, wow, this is cool. We went back to New York that fall. The next summer, we did the pop-up again. And I was part of that team. Became a sous chef, went back as a sous chef. And then in the winter, we did Winter House in Aspen. At that time, I started questioning myself. I'm like, okay, well, it's amazing to work for all these chefs, and they're definitely engraved in my career and my story. But do I want to give my all to somebody who maybe gets most of the credit and I'm just behind the scenes, where there is creativity, drive, all those things, which is important. It is a team sport. Kitchens are team sports. You need different players to play different roles within that team and execute. But at that time, I just felt something inside of me that I wanted to carve my own way. And I know what that was. It's scary. It's a very scary moment. It's that Y intersection of you could fall into your comfort zone and stay at this amazing restaurant that is still very amazing, no matter the critics or what people think. Because it's hard to own a business. I mean, you both know it firsthand. It's hard to do it, especially at that caliber. Whether I was going to be there 5, 6, 7 years and then be the executive sous chef, maybe another 10 years and be the CDC or executive chef. Did I want that? And then what's next for me? I would rather take that risk. I would rather take the road less traveled. And I decided not to go back to New York. I decided to stay in Aspen. And I took over this restaurant as the executive chef, and everybody left that spring back to New York. And it's like when that reality hits, wow, you were just at the top. Now you're down in this valley. What's going to be the next mountaintop? Well, now you have all the accountabilities on you. Everything falls on you. All the responsibilities on you. How are you going to rise from this? So that's when I started. And then 2020 came around and Top Chef knocked on the door. And I was like, yeah, let me take this opportunity, see what happens. And then after that, my life pretty much changed. But I think it was me taking that action of seeing where I wanted to go when life started giving me what I needed. And I have everything that I need in order to succeed or to fail. Like, it's up to me.
And that's a question a lot of people have, is like, when do I know I'm ready? When do I know that it's my time to open a restaurant? And for everybody, it's different. I wanted to be behind the scenes. I wanted to be a CDC at Le Bernardin and work there for 20 years, holding the standard while Eric Ripert is the one out front. But some people don't want that. And I mean, I kind of got pushed onto a different path, but everybody asks, like, how do I know when I'm ready? And it sounds like you found your answer there.
Yeah, but I mean, every day we're still trying. Everybody sees the glory, but they don't know the story. They don't know that, they see me now, but they don't know that it took 20 years to get to 2021 when Top Chef aired, to now from 2021 to 2025 to be able to have these opportunities. But 20 years prior to that, nobody knew me. It was head down. It was the sacrifice. Are you willing to do that trade-off? 20 years for a 5-year return.
Right. And it's, me and Adrian have talked about it before, but it's funny, like when you go and do TV, it's like people kind of act like, oh, that's when your career started, right? They're like, oh, you did Top Chef and then like you became a chef. And it's like, no, I did this for 20 years. You know what I mean? It's like, and then that happened to come about and like I kept doing the thing I was doing. And I think like taking that jump, one of the things like I think I talk about with like, my friends, it's like, when you work for those really big chefs, right, that are prolific, that are, the Bouluds, the, Repairs, the, 11 Madison Parks, like the Daniel Hums, you are in the shadow, right? But you're also, when you leave that, you realize the shadow was from the umbrella that kept you dry and safe.
Yeah.
And so now you no longer, it's like, you're not in the shadow anymore, but you don't have any shade anymore either. This shit's all falling on your head.
You
like
have no
good,
cover,
bad.
no protection.
Like when you got the sunshine, you got the sunshine. That's fucking great for you, bro. But like when it's raining, it's like, brother, get a bucket. Like, cause there ain't nobody coming, And it's like, and I think, and it's the wild feeling that first time when you realize like, I'm out here alone now. Like I got my team, but there's nobody else for me to look up to and say like, hey, what do we do? It's like, I'm the what do we do person now. It's like, oh shit.
It's like that Mike Tyson saying, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
And staying in those places, whether, like for you, Adrian, you got that nourishment, you got that safety, you took those risks, you put in the hard work. Like you said, everybody's different, but there comes a time that, you have to carve your own way, I think. And some people, that's their way to stay there. And that's totally fine, but it's just taking that leap of faith a lot of times of like, I don't know if this is going to work out, but I'm going to do it. And it's reality and it's scary. And then you deal with imposter syndrome, and then you deal with like, man, coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's this whole mind fuck. And people think you're on television. Yes, your life could change, but it's like a second and third job, because now you're promoting yourself. You're working on your personal brand. You're learning how to be your own agent, your own manager, your own PR. You have your daily job at the restaurant, responsibilities, but you got to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning because you have a call in the East Coast, and you could be the West Coast 9 a.m. there. And it's like another job to keep up.
That's a lot. That's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. And Joe kind of struggles with that. Like, I want to go do this television thing because it helps drive attention to the restaurants, but I also don't want to leave my team. I'm like, dude, you got to do it. Like, you just got to do it.
That's when you start learning how to like surround yourself with people you could trust and start building that team. And also be open-minded that they're not going to do it like you. That is your value. That's why you're there. You could only mentor other people and rub some things off and hope they catch it, but they're going to have their own style. And as a leader, I need to understand that and let them develop into that. And that could be hard at first.
Right. Yeah. I think it's super hard of like letting go of anything, right? We're such control freaks about everything. And I think
it costs you so much to get there. 20 years or whatever many years to open your first restaurant. Right? It costs you so much.
Right. Every late night you had, every train ride you took, you know what I mean? Everything you missed, every self-doubt you ever had sitting on it's like, I remember like when I was a line cook, those long train rides home. You know what I mean? After you just got eviscerated all night and had people just tell you like people basically be like, don't come back tomorrow. I don't know why you showed up today.
You suck at life. You're the worst person ever to walk this earth.
You suck. Your knives suck. Your shoes suck. Like, your haircut sucks. Like, why? You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, yes, chef. Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
Right.
Are we psychotic by laughing at these things?
And it's just like, and then it's like, you got to go
laugh through the pain.
You got to go sit on a train for an hour.
Let that marinate. Let that sink in.
And just like sit there like by yourself. Like, you can't even doom scroll at this point.
I didn't go straight to the train. I would stop and have a beer and a shot of Jack before I got on the train. Take the edge off of that pain from the day.
Yeah. And it's like, they don't, So it's like, you're like every little detail that we're so focused on, every little thing we're trying to control. And I think it's like, for me, at least I found, I'm like, I have to remind myself, like, the greatest thing anybody ever gave me was trust. Right.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
the trust to run their restaurant when they weren't there, the trust to
Yeah.
run a service when they were out for the night. And my biggest moments of growth came when I was afforded that trust. Did I do it as well as them? Sure, if you ask them, they would say no. But but because they gave me that trust, I was able to push myself further than I was ready to at the time, or I was comfortable with, at least at the time. And I think, like, I have to remind myself that I'm like, if I don't give them space to try to step into something bigger, how could they possibly? You know what I mean? If I don't give them that room to say, like, hey, I'm not there, you got to do it. You have to be the person. Like, you are, as far as anyone's concerned, like, this is your restaurant tonight. But that's the biggest part of, like, our job, right? Of what we do. It's like being that person to say, you know what? No, fuck it. We're doing it this way. Let's go. Right?
Yeah.
But it's super hard.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really hard. One thing I want to know also, you've worked in places from Burger King to 1, 2, 3 Michelin stars to now having your own Michelin stars that you've earned. What is a kitchen habit or a discipline that you learned at some point in your career and you still rely on every day?
um, this make-believe system that humans have that keeps us in order, but there's really no track of what that is track of time, a timeline. I treat it like, it's what is really 12 o'clock midnight? Is it really 12 o'clock midnight, or is it just a standard that we know program to know that this time is 12 o'clock midnight? Well, that really helps us in the kitchen, because that's your biggest enemy. You are literally racing against time from the time you clock in to the time you clock out, whether it's setup, whether it's getting the order up on the window on time, and whether it's breaking down to get out on time. You're always doing that. And I learned that if I keep a timeline of my day and I break it down into segments, the first week is all data gathering. So I look at the clock. I bought this big red clock at BRUTØ, and it's hidden in the corner where the cooks they only have to turn their head and look at it. And when we roll out a menu, they have a whole week to draw out a timeline. You come in at this time. This is going to take you, chives are going to take you this long. Set up your 9 pans are going to take you this long. Put everything in a squeeze bottle are going to take. So then they know within the 2 hours that they have to set up what that time is like. The next week, they turn it in. I review it. Now, me as a manager, as their mentor and chef, I have an idea what the day looks like. I'm just not going in blowing up my fucking lid because they're not ready. I have an understanding where they're coming from and what they're dealing with. And then the week later, we start hacking at it. It's called mentality that we practice a lot of BRUTØ. It's called Kaizen. It's a Japanese way of being 1% better each day. You don't have to be 10%, just be 1% better. So if that timeline took you 2.5 hours this week, next week is going to get you 2 hours and 25 minutes. The week after that, 2 hours and 20 minutes. And you can see that confidence building in them. They're like, holy shit, I could do it. At first, it's like deer in headlights. Menu change. Oh my God. No, you are doing what you need to do and what you're called to do and what you're good at and what you're developing yourself. And that's a cook. So just cook. The time management, that's the hard part. So you start doing that homework, review it every day. Eventually, you don't have imposter syndrome anymore because you become comfortable and knowledgeable and you gain confidence. You're able to execute. And then all around, the machine just starts working back again.
That is huge.
It's such a monster skill because it's the idea of like, this is the least you're ever going to be responsible for is just a station, right? Every step you go further on this journey, there's more. So the sooner you figure out, how to like time block yourself and hold yourself to a regimen and hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Like the better you are, all of a sudden you're a sous chef. Now you have to be really good at time blocking your day, prioritizing what needs to get done, holding yourself accountable, holding, 7 to 15 other people accountable. And it's like, if you're giving them the opportunity from the jump of like, hey, these are all like, they might not even see it, right? It's like the wax on, wax off. It's like, they don't even understand like why it's so important they're doing it. But it's like, this is all the building blocks of everything you're going to need to be a good sous chef. to not just be a great line cook, but to be a good sous chef, to be a good chef, to be a good manager is going to be, because it's all right. It's all just organization and communication, right? And you're putting it on them to do those two things every time you change a menu is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's why, you know, like you said, like you could be doing wax on, wax off, and you don't know why you're doing it. That's why the next week we review it together. Be like, this is the information you gave me. I didn't make this up. You gave me this.
Right.
So now you're going to see your progression day by day by day. And then if you shave off 15 more minutes, doesn't mean that you get to fuck off and twiddle your thumbs. No, you get to take on more things. Because when you're a sous chef, that's when people get burned down in that middle management. And they say burnout, mental health, which is very important. I went through that myself. But it's because they don't have the structure and the foundation, how to manage your time. The cooking part, we're good. The showing up part, we're good. The taking the beating, we're good. Once you get to management, it's a mind thing. A lot of it. It's not because you're not even cooking anymore. Physically, you're not really cooking. I miss cooking. I don't get to cook as much, as small as my kitchen is. And I'm like, guys, just enjoy it and get that foundation.
That's I think
the time management is huge.
Right.
Every station, I remember training on a new station. I worked in pastry before switching to savory, and everything was like, here's this recipe of this. This will take you an hour and a half, and then you do that. And so I was kind of primed for it without even knowing it. And then when I got into fine dining, every station I was trained at, I had my little notebook, and it's like 10 minutes, do this. It's like you have your prep list on the left side, and then you have your timestamps on the right about how long each thing should take. And then getting that, like, wow, I got better at this. I got faster at this. I feel it's like it builds your confidence as you go. And then fast and accurate. It's like, okay, I did it faster, but did it come at the expense of quality? Or did I do it faster and more efficiently? And sometimes like you get to the point where you're like, now I can like step back and look at the prep list and I can maybe make it a little bit more efficient than the person who trained me if I put these two things next to each other that are more related. And that was like, that's one of those moments where you're like, I can figure this out. I can do this.
Yep. So you do that enough times, then 5 years later, 10 years later, stacks up, you're ready.
I remember like being at Grill and the Goat, it's like we all got really good at butchering pig heads because if they weren't done at the end of the night, we all had to butcher pig heads. So you got really fast at them because it's like we just wanted to make last call. Like, so that's why we got fast at them, because it's like, man, if we don't bang these things out before 1:20, we're not going to make it across the street before 1:30. So it's like, we got to be able to rip these things. So it's like, I feel like those shift pay are like, it was like, you got the benefit of, you got to work shorter hours if you could be faster, you know what I mean? For the same amount of money. And now it's like, when we're in this era of, you know, it's like most cooks work 4 10s or 5 8s or whatever they do. It's like, you have to teach them how to be efficient within a system that works, right? You can't just be like, hey, you need to show up when you need to get your prep done. And like, if it takes you 3 hours because you're a newer cook, that's okay. You get 3 hours. And if you're a faster cook, it takes you an hour and a half, then you can come in later. Like, that's kind of what it was, right? Like, it was just the natural environment that kind of forced us to do it. So I think it's a really smart way to kind of like create that in a more healthy way, right? Where it's not just like, oh, like, hey, you suck at setting up your station, just work 16 hours.
Well, it also teaches accountability, which is huge what we do here at BRUTØ, because I did take accountability onto management. And then, you know, it's just, again, I tell the guys, the reason I give you advice is not because I'm smarter or wiser than you. It's because I fucked up way more times than you have. So
that's it. That's it. And I think people like, you know, like when you talk about like culture of restaurants and like great lines that you're on, it's like realizing it's like accountability is culture. Like the only way to keep culture is accountability. And it's like, I think people are like,
I'm looking out for you.
Right. I don't want you to make the mistake I made.
I'm not targeting you. I'm looking out for you.
Exactly. Byron, I want to ask, because you have such a rich background, originally being from Costa Rica, experiencing all the different cultures that you've cooked in, all the different types of cuisines you've worked in. I want to know, when you're creating dishes at your restaurant, where do you normally start? What comes first? Is it a memory? Is it a technique? Is it an ingredient?
Yeah, it's so, it's such a complex question and answer, because right now at BRUTØ is the first thing has to be what is the story? What is the storytelling? So right now, the fish dish, it's only two things: a piece of steamed sable fish with a white asparagus sauce. Well, what is the story there? White asparagus is a very short season in the spring, about 3 to 4 weeks. While everybody in the country is having a feeding frenzy when it's in season, everybody's excited, as they should. We decide to not be part of that. We decide to preserve it, pickle it. We took the peels, each individual asparagus, and we turned it into a powder, which was for our ice cream in our summertime menu. Then we took the pickled and we made a beurre blanc out of it, which we're serving now. To me, that's luxury. When you can have an ingredient that is not available, it's not in season, but you're able to taste it. So we begin with the preservation, fermentation, all these practices. Another one was in the summer, we had our last bite is pretty much whatever trim we have of different ingredients throughout the menu. So we were juicing carrots for our fish dish in the summer. We took that pulp and made a creamsicle out of it with koji that we utilized to make our misos. So it tasted like a creamsicle. And that was a childhood memory from ice cream trucks back when I was in New York. So I could look at a color, I could look at a texture. And if I'm looking something that's like this vase that is aerated, and I could look at a sponge cake that we could do in a microwave and you tear it. And then I could think about rocks and what is going to be texturally. So we could coat something in white cocoa that it has that rock flavor, but it's gooey in the inside. And all I want is just to invoke an experience, a memory, a feeling, because this industry is extremely competitive. Right now, we are in an age where businesses are suffering because of the labor, the generational labor, whatever you want to call it, competition, inflation. How am I going to be thankful that these guests are choosing my business today compared to any other business when they have a million other options to go dine anywhere? When you're talking about Michelin, you add another level. People talk about, oh, the accolades, this and that. No, it's like 1,000 more pounds of weight that you have to carry because now you're being criticized even in a more focused scale. So I just want to evoke something, whether that's the storytelling, preservation, practices. It is my job to manipulate, to cook, to put out the best product, and to give those guests a 2-hour, 2.5-hour experience when they're sitting at BRUTØ. And then they could go back to their lives and go back to the stress and go back to the scrolling. All I'm asking, I want to make you feel human. I want to make you feel cared for. Is that hospitality with service? Absolutely. Are we the best at it? No. But this is what I've been training to do. I'm just trying to tell a story. And I hope that we could connect and have that human connection somehow.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, you could just tell, it's like, you know, when you're saying you're trying to invoke something, it's like talking about that creamsicle. It's like, I could just imagine someone eating that and smiling. And like, that's the best feeling, right? Like when you have this idea and you're like, this reminds me of something so specific, right? Like I had a zucchini dish on the menu a couple summers ago at Rosemary, and we would grill them. And it's just the smell of zucchini and charcoal on the grill, like made me feel like I was running around my backyard on 84th Street. Like it just was like, it was like perfect in my head, right? And I had a friend of mine's dad came in and he ate the dish, you know, and I was like, oh, what'd you think of it? And he was like, he was tearing up. He's like, I grew up here. He's like, and it's like, it's a simple dish, man. It's grilled zucchini with smoked beef fat and Parmesan fondue and pickled zucchinis on it. It's nothing, you know, it doesn't float. It's not on a river. You know what I mean? Like it's not any, and then he was like, my mom used to make grilled zucchini as a kid over like the Weber. And he's like, and it just, I haven't tasted something like that in so long. And it just reminded me of her. And, you know, she's been gone for years and I haven't had her food in years. And he goes, it just made me emotional. He goes, I can't explain it. And it was like, and I was like, well, fuck me, dude. Like, come on. Like, you know, I'm in the middle of service here. I'm in the middle of service here. You're just wrecking me with this? Like, I just wanted to know if you like the dish. Like, you know, when you talk about that creamsicle, it's like, I just imagine someone like, you know, you get that one person who has that same connection. Like, oh man, yeah, this is that. This is summertime New York. This is the ice cream truck. This is there's no more thrilling moment than pulling that wrapper off that thing. You're just like, man, we are living large. We're living ice
Yeah.
cream truck large right now.
We get to evoke those childhood-like memories on other people, but also myself. And get it, guys, running a business is hard. Multiplying yourself, I hope that AI could figure out how to clone myself so I could be more efficient. It's hard. But what a beautiful, we have a responsibility for that. And we also have the skills to give somebody that gift.
There's another question that I'm curious to ask you, because you've also gone through several iterations of yourself. And we've talked about this, I think, years ago when I met you in Aspen, and how, you know, you've worked on yourself. We all want to get better. We all want to unlearn some of the bad habits we learned. We all want to try every day to be 1% better, like you said. And what is something that you had to unlearn? A kitchen habit, a life habit, something you had to unlearn to help you become a better version of yourself?
BRUTØ's an 18-seat counter, open kitchen. People get to see everything, see the performance, see the execution. Although I was already in television when I got to BRUTØ and did also this exposure, doing the food that I was doing at that level with that setting, one thing that I had to unlearn is to not be so focused on this and actually look up. Look up and be present. Because there's so many cues that you miss. There's so many reading the room moments that you could miss. And I finally kind of understood why, when I was working with Daniel Boulud or Daniel Hume or Gavin, Kaysen, they will leave the kitchen. They will leave the past and go to the dining room. Because that's able to give you a sense of where you're at, where you're going, what the energy is like in the room, what the pace is, and seeing the guest reaction from the food that they're having, whether it was bad, not bad, but I'm saying like maybe they didn't like it, maybe they left something. That taught me how to manage my business better, the kitchen better, the team better, the execution, maybe the things that I thought, and I'm just gonna die on this hill because this is the recipe for this dish. Maybe we need to pivot because I need to let my ego aside and actually, I don't work for the company, I don't work for BRUTØ, I work for the guest. If I don't have guests in my dining room, I don't get paid. My cooks don't get paid, the business doesn't run. So having that realization of looking up, I'm at a point in my career where I can look up and have other people and trust the people that could manage the stuff that I don't need to manage. Do I want to? Absolutely. Do I want to be like, guys, you can't fucking figure this shit out? 100% most of my time. But that's not my job anymore. I have a middle person that I could go up to that and they could distribute, they could say the message along the team. So I needed to be comfortable in that. I needed to grow into that role. I needed to accept my place in the kitchen of what is my execution? How am I going to do better? That if 𝐜𝐝𝗄𝐻 under seasons the salad, then I'm going to go under review and say, little Tommy unseasoned the salad. That's what we write in this article. They're going to be like, Chef Byron Gómez. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
So he's dealing with all of that, and I think it's just being present.
Chef Byron's awesome. Little Tommy sucks, though. You know, it's never how the review reads.
So yeah, that is just looking up and being present.
Yeah, the old way of training, like keep your head down, focus on your station. That is a really hard habit to unlearn when you're at the point that you're like, oh no, I need to look around. I need to see what other people are doing and not be focused on this one thing. I need to have a big picture view.
Right. And especially, I think, you doing like Top Chef and all that stuff. It's like now you have a place where it's like people are coming to see you too. You know what I mean? They want to see you. They want to interact with you. So it's like there has to be a level of like, and I'm not saying people need all access, but it's like I feel like you got to give them some of that, right? And it's like that you really realizing that like enriches their experience. And it costs you nothing to do, to just be like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Like, it's
makes their day. Makes their day.
Right. And people, they'll tell me like, I'll get like a DM, will be like, oh, I'm coming in. I'll be like, cool, say hi. They're like, oh, is that cool? It's like, yeah, no, it'd be weird if you didn't.
Yeah, I've had people reach out to me and they're like on DMs, and I reach out back and they're like, oh my God, I would never thought you would have responded. This is so good. And I was like, well, we're fucking humans too. Like,
Right. And it's like, also we're humans who like want you to patronize our business. Like I want you to come there. Like it's my 100%. Whole thing is trying to get people to come to the thing that I'm doing, So it's like, you're like, hey, I want to come. It's like, I'm going to try to figure out how to make that happen for you.
Yeah.
Byron, one question also that I find really interesting is there's different schools of thought in the industry about going to culinary school and skipping culinary school. And my mom worked in the industry. I was raised by
Oh,
a
wow.
woman who was in the industry herself. So, I'm a lifer.
Mm,
But I remember her telling me culinary school, you don't go to learn things, you learn to prove to a chef you're applying to that you can stick with something. You're going to learn the names of what to call stuff, but
mhm,
you're not going to learn until you're in a restaurant working. And I know you didn't go to culinary school and you've
mhm.
achieved like some of the highest accolades in our industry. What is your view on culinary school and you skipping it? And did you feel like you wanted to go? Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I always story of my life. I always wanted to fit in, whether it was in high school, whether it was with a certain group of friends. Then on culinary school, I wanted to fit in, and I never got the opportunity to go to culinary school. So then I felt like an outsider when I applied to work with Daniel Boulud. I was like, this guy has interns from Lyon, from Switzerland, from Asia. Why is he going to take me? And as a chef now, a lot of it has to do with you showing up. That's half the battle, and have a good attitude. I'm
Hmm.
going to teach you all the fuck ups that I did and what not to do. And I could maybe save you a couple $100,000, whether you're changing careers, going to culinary school, whatever that is. I myself, life did not present me that opportunity. So I took the enrollment of School of Hard Knocks. I had no other choice. In my opinion, I'm all for education, but I had a kid who just started working for us, was texting me late spring last year. Hey, chef, I'm done with my internship at Osteria Francescana in late summer. I'm coming back to the US. I'm a CIA. I'm in the middle of CIA. I would love to come and work for you once I get back. We granted him the stage. He came in. He was able to do his 2-day stage. At the end of his stage, he's like, I need to go back and finish culinary school in December. And I was like, okay, well, I need to hire somebody like today. So what's going to happen? He's like, all right, let me go back home. And I was like, okay. He drove from Florida to Colorado for a 2-day stage and then was going to drive back. I was like,
Whoa.
okay. He came back the next day. Chef, I spoke to some people that, I trust, and I'm not going to go back to culinary. And I was like, cool. I'm taking a risk on you because you took a risk on me. That kind of attitude is one of a go-getter. Did
Yeah.
that kid realize that culinary school? I was like, why are you going to finish culinary school if once he came back and accepted the job? And he goes like, I don't know, just to get my name out there. I was like, you came from Osteria Francescana and you're being offered a job at a 1-star Michelin restaurant. What do you mean? You're there, right,
Right.
dude? That's it.
Yeah.
Taking those 2
Yeah.
samples is just like, what is the right answer? Everybody has a different path. Culinary school wasn't my answer, wasn't my action. This kid's, he tried it, he left it, he's in a better place. Maybe I don't know, but I think yeah, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Definitely makes sense.
I mean, completely makes sense to me. I always, it's like, I feel like I've had those interns where like, oh, well, I'm going to go finish, 2 more years at Kendall or CRA, whatever. So I can get like my bachelor's in culinary. And I'm like, for like, one, is somebody else paying for it? If somebody else is paying for it and the money doesn't matter, then yeah, go ahead. Go have 2 more years of fun. You know what I mean? Go enjoy it. Why not? Who cares?
Yeah.
You mean, go hang out in upstate New York or Chicago, whatever. Go do it. It's like, but if you are paying for this, it's like you're out of your mind. Because you're not going to take that bachelor's degree and then go to law school or go take your MCATs. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, just get to work. You want to be a chef? You want to be a cook? Like, start cooking.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I went to culinary school, but I was in a work study program. So I was working for chefs around New York for free. It was like, you're short staffed on a Saturday. You need somebody because you can't pull a sous chef from the restaurant. You need somebody to set up your demo. So it was very hands-on. It was very practical. So I feel like I got a lot out of it in that way. So yeah, I'm always curious about that because for somebody to, you know, some people look at culinary school as it's going to guarantee me success in the industry. And, you know, it depends on the person. Obviously, you have achieved the heights of the industry without having gone to culinary school. So, you know, it's not always necessary.
Yeah, I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything that guarantees anything in this industry.
No.
It's just not that. You know what I mean? And even if you look at culinary schools, there's no Harvard, there's no Yale, there's no like, oh, I went to, you know, it's like you went to CIA. It's like, yes, sure, you can say that's the best culinary school in America, but it's culinary school.
At the end of the day, hard work only guarantees you a better shot of doing something else and something harder. That's it. Doesn't guarantee success. It just really doesn't. You know, people think, oh, hard work guarantees you success. No, it just gives you a better shot than just being on the fucking couch and scrolling through, you know, Netflix. So go ahead. That gives you a better chance. That's
or watching other people cook on Instagram
or TikTok.
Right. Yeah. It'll give you the opportunity for something more. You know what I mean? At least.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but it's like, you know, somebody asked me the other day, they came in and they're like, how many of these people on your line went to culinary school? And I was like, I don't know. Because I never ask anymore. I never ask people like, oh, did you go to culinary school? I'm usually like, did you work anywhere before this? And if they worked anywhere before this, we talk about that. And it doesn't matter to me. One of my tournants right now is a guy I hired who his resume before he worked for me was Bona Beef and Chick-fil-A. The rest of his resume is Rosemary, and now he's the tournant at BRUTØ. And it's like, he's nasty. And like, it's awesome. And it's like, he didn't go to culinary school. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's like, can you cook? Are you not an asshole? Like, do you want to hang out with us? Like, bonus points if you're funny.
Yeah,
you know, I always
we're cool. Like, you want to hang out with us? You want to be exactly.
I always say, like, if you're gonna be shitty, at least be funny. You know, like if you're gonna be a really shitty cook, like try to be a little funny. It'll get you a long way. Like if you at least could be like, you know, a vibes person on the line. You know, of like you kind of suck, but you're like, you know what? Like, yeah, I know Gina sucks, but like Gina's fucking hilarious. So it's like, we'll let her work Irma for 9 more months.
Right.
Like, you know, it's like
it's funny that you talk about you always need the vibes because, you know, coming up the ranks, like I will use those people as my shield when I will fuck up, and I would just say something to trigger the other person so they could take the spotlight, and I'll be just in the corner, just like I'm fucking everything that I would do it, and they put it off. So I just reminded me of that when you said that.
Well, Byron, we know what you've achieved in the industry. We know where you started. We know where you climbed up to, and we know where you are now. But there was a young Byron back in the day, a young Byron Gomez working at his restaurants, doing his thing, maybe in fine dining, maybe before, who made a memorable mistake, right? So we have a segment that we call Walk-In Confessions. And this is where we finally come clean about the mistakes that our younger selves made that we can own up to now. No shame, no embarrassment. You're in a safe space.
You know, shame dies in the light, as they say.
Well, something and an instance that kind of taught me something. It has, I don't know, maybe not doing with cooking, but I applied it to cooking. I was working at a 𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗲𝗏 on 64th and Broadway, and I took that place almost like my culinary school, because at that time on that corner it was Bar Boulud, 𝗶𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗏, and Boulud Sud around the corner. So on my days off, I would stage in the other restaurants, whether it was pastry, whether it was on the line, whether it was prep, because I just wanted to learn. I saw the opportunity and I was like, I'm going to hop on this bandwagon. And Daniel Boulud came, and there was oddly enough, I think it was season 12 of Top Chef. The cast was having a dinner party at one of the PDRs. So Daniel Boulud comes up, and being him, he wants to take pictures, and then everybody wants to take pictures. So they're happy to pull me to the PDR, and they're like, hey, can you take pictures? So I'm taking pictures. I got like 16 phones in front of me, taking pictures, all of that. Everybody takes their phone back. Chef is saying hi, just in his own world. I happen to walk away. 10 minutes later, there's a panic in the room, in the kitchen. Somebody took Chef's phone. Somebody stole Chef's phone because I didn't give it back to him, you know? And now I'm thinking my job is on the fucking line. The executive chef comes out to be like, you fucked up, dude. Like, what the fuck, Byron? Because obviously, you know, he's going to look bad. His team is going to, it's just like a whole trickle-down effect. Everybody, his assistant, everybody's just fucking freaking out. And finally, somebody from the cast comes back like 20 minutes later. They were like, oh, we were down Columbus Circle and we realized we took an extra phone. This is somebody's phone. It's Chef's phone. I'm like, I'm not fired. Saying, fucking God, I am not
fired.
My
God. Oh my God.
That told me a few things. It's
bro getting fired on your day off when you're staging too.
I'm here
or something uncooking related would be all time.
So that told me a few things. It's I had this thing I tell the guys, it's like, take a penny, leave a penny policy. If you take something, just put it back. Put it back where you found it. Put it back where it belongs. Also, if somebody's giving you an order, do it right now. Drop everything and do it right now, because you're not going to remember, because you have your task, you have your timeline, you have your day. Just accomplish that and move on to the next thing. And then how to organize myself. You know, now I know what it is. I don't want to say an assistant, but I have a team of, I have a PR person, I have a manager, and they're all doing their job to enhance my job. And if I don't do something, they don't eat, they don't get paid, and things like that. So he taught me how to like build a team. And I remember that assistant, how much she was freaking out for something that wasn't even her fault. But also it's just like, keep your shit on check on my end. Don't take pictures for Daniel Boulud ever again. And,
give the right person back the right phone.
I love the idea of you having to walk into an interview at EMP after that and explain why you got fired from Boulud.
Imagine.
So why did you leave Danielle's group? It's like, fucking lost the phone, man. I lost the phone. All right, there was like 16 phones. I wasn't even working that day. Like, it wasn't my fault, dude. I don't know where the phone went.
Working that day.
Yeah. I'm not a photographer. I'm not a photographer. All right, guys.
That's awesome.
Chef, thank you so much. This was an absolute blast. Yes. Me and Adrian, we got to come visit you out there. We got to come eat at BRUTØ. I'm going to take you guys both out for ice cream baked potatoes. Just watch your heads explode against the wall.
Love it.
That's it for this episode of The Chef's Cut. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, especially if you're watching us on YouTube, where you can find full-length video episodes of each show. And follow us at Chef's Cut Pod on IG. On behalf of 𝐁𝐲𝐫𝗶𝗵𝗲𝗀, I'm Adrienne Cheatham, and this has been The Chef's Cut, Life Beyond the Pass.